All right, guys. Hello and welcome to another live USMNT hangout. Pete here. You guys are awesome. I love coming to the chat, and you guys are already discussing in the chat, which is very cool. Oscar, Ray Puma, Nate, Michael Garrison, Jack, Daniel, Filippo Silva. Is that actually you, Filippo, or is that some burner account? Or not burner, but imitation account. How are you guys? Kevin, Mr. Chair, Karen, good to see you all here today. We're going to talk USMNT stuff. The States FC, woohoo! Swift Cross, Max, Jason, good to see you guys all here. How's everybody's Sunday going? It's Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. How's everybody's Sunday going? Hope you're all enjoying. Holy, Zach says it's 115 in Portland today. Oof. I don't know how it's that. How is it is that normal for summer, Zach? Because that seems like some Arizona weather. AJ, Levi, Greg, Dahar, human highlight reel. Oh my God. How are you guys doing? It's good to see you all here. We're going to have a lot of USMNT stuff to talk about. Mostly we're going to talk the World Cup qualifying schedule, the newly released World Cup qualifying schedule, my thoughts on it. I'll do Q&A. There's a lot of transfers to talk about, MLS performances from young Americans. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Zach says it is the hottest day in Portland history. Oof. All right. Ilyas Abdi. Hey, from London, England. Are you English, Ilyas? Are you just like following USMNT streams, or are you American? Or are you a Brit who's an American fan? Welcome if you are. Tactical manager, Pete, I am at the car. If you want, I can hop in for a bit. Headed to the Austin game. Oh, I'm jealous. Should we? Yeah, Filippo, I'm sending you. Yes, you are a mod, Filippo. I'm sending you the the stream. So hang on one sec. Let me get this stream to Filippo. All right, I'm sending it to you on Instagram. You can hop in for a little bit and we can get some thoughts. Whoo. All right, how's everybody doing today? This is really fun. I love doing this. I love Sunday hangouts, guys, partially because, I don't have to do all the research of putting a whole video together, and I get to actually hang out with you guys live and answer your questions live, which is cool, and just to kind of see how everyone's doing and hang out with the community. Jake Anderson, how are you? And Dino, Tactical is going to be here any second. He's on the way to the Austin game. Who's Austin playing? We'll ask him when he gets here, but that's going to be fun. AJ Johnson, Pete, will you be going to any LA/OC American Outlaw watch parties for World Cup qualifying? I might go, AJ, to if you do a night before party, then I might do that. Because during the game, I'm going to be on the live stream with Filippo and post live stream. But if there's a night before party, I might show up for that, AJ. Doing Levi. Elias says, yeah, English following USMNT. Okay, I'm very curious now. Hey, Jean-Claude. Elias, what made you want to follow the USMNT if you're English? What is it that's interesting to you, about us? Because I'm curious why foreigners would want to follow our team. Rafael Pozos, glad to be Mexican-American. Kevin Navas, I had to watch Chicharito's brace yesterday, but at least I got to see a Cowell goal in person. Yes, you did. Joshua Simmons, Miles Robinson, and George Bello looked good today. Look who's in town. How you doing, Filippo?
Doing good. Got a thanker here for driving.
All right. Here, show us Mariana. She probably doesn't want you on the stream. Hi. All right. Thanks for driving so Filippo can hang with us. Who's Austin playing, Filippo?
The glorious Columbus Crew of Jassy Zardes.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. You should carry a Jassy Zardes for Gold Cup sign above your head.
Yeah, I'm going to go there protest against his call. I'm worried about him pulling up a masterclass, getting 2 goals today right in front of me, and I'm seeing it right in front of my eyes, just Jassy Zardes going to Gold Cup and getting worried about it.
Okay. Well, awesome, dude. We're basically going to talk about World Cup qualifying. We're not going to talk so much about the venues because you and I, by the way, teaser, Filippo and I are going to do a separate video about venues because that's a longer conversation, and we're going to go game by game and try to plot out the best venues. But today, I just wanted to talk about, it's huge, World Cup qualifying for Qatar, and, the kind of points we're going to take and stuff like that. Before we go any further, guys, let's have a quick video from our sponsor here, because sometimes I tend to play these too late. So let me add this real quick here.
11 Yanks have.
Hang on one sec. I have to get rid of these banners and stuff first. Elias. There it is. Sorry, guys. I got to get rid of these banners. Otherwise, can't see it.
As a new sponsor. OneFootball is an app that allows you to get all of your news, transfers, stats, and in-match updates from over 160 leagues in over 60 countries. I've been using this app for the last few weeks, and here's what I love about it. I can select the teams that I love, in this case, the USMNT, and with one click, I'll have access to all the news about the teams, statistics from past games, lineups, information about future games, as well as who is part of the roster. I can also do the same thing for specific players, select the ones that I want to follow, and I'll be able to track that player's data, performance, and stats throughout the season for both club and country. So check out the app, guys, OneFootball. Click the link in the description below to download the app directly and start getting all the information you need about the players and teams that you love.
All right. I like that guy. Seems like he's got some charisma. Okay. So, yeah, somebody asked in the chat, who are you cheering for tonight?
So I'm going to go for Austin. Well, first, I'm at their stadium. I can't say otherwise, right? I'm going to be in the middle of the game. But I always, they're green, right? And my team is Palmeiras, so they got that going for me. I'm excited to go there. I think they have the coolest owner in MLS, too. So yeah, I'll go with Austin.
And they've got, what's his name? Matthew McConaughey in his green suits. He's like Mr. Cool,
there
man.
You go.
He's like, if I could be that cool when I'm in my mid-50s, I'll be pretty happy.
If you can be that cool, you're going to own an MLS club.
Right? I have that kind of money. I don't think he owns it outright. I think he owns like a small portion of it because it's Precourt's club, right? Isn't it Anthony Precourt, the former? Oh, wait, he's playing his former club, the Crew. I'm sure there's going to be some Crew fans there with some thoughts for Anthony Precourt. Because wasn't he the guy who tried to sell them or take the Crew to Austin?
The first, no. Was it? Well, he was in the.
He used to own the Crew. He used to own the Crew, and he tried to move them to Austin. Yes, but instead, the MLS bought him out, and then he got his own club in Austin. So, okay. Ilyas Abdi, I went to the same school as Yunus Musa, so I'm kind of want to see how his career goes. That's awesome. We want to see it too if Greg ever plays him. But he's still behind the magnificent Jackson Ewell and Sebastian Lletget, so we may or may not get to see him as much as we'd like. I'm going to add this as a World Cup qualifying schedule, guys, because there's a lot to talk about here. So opening game is away to El Salvador. And before we get into this, I want to talk briefly about this, because in the past, and Bruce Arena used to talk about this, it was like his mantra, right? You have to, win your home games and draw away. And if you do that, you have a pretty good chance of qualifying. But now it's the Ocho, it's the octagonal. So I don't know if that's going to be enough anymore to qualify. It might be, but I think we need to be better than that. Max Deckman says, everyone hit the like button. Yes, guys, if you have not hit the like button yet, smash it now so everybody else can find us. Look, there's a ton to talk about, but mainly I want us to aim higher than we have in the past. I don't think we should any longer aim to just win at home and draw away. I think we're better than that, and I think we have to set our standards higher than that. I'm not saying we can never lose or draw. Things happen in 90 minutes, but if we draw all of our away games, I don't think that's good enough. I think we have to be better. Starting away to El Salvador, right? We have to beat El Salvador, home and away. I mean, it's El Salvador. The gap in quality is massive, right? So that opening weekend, we have a relatively easy slate of games. Wouldn't you say, Filippo?
Yeah, the first camp right there, right? It's 3 games. I think Honduras away might be an annoying game. We should still find a way to beat Honduras away, but they can make it very scrappy. But there's no reason we should be fearing El Salvador, regardless of where we play them. And Canada at home, I'm sorry, we can't.
That Canada at home has to be 3 points. I mean, we thrashed Canada with his Jassy Zardes and Christian Roldan and Jordan Morris in the lineup. So, at home we have to beat Canada.
They like to bring up the loss, though.
What?
They like to bring up the loss we had to Canada in 2019, but look at our lineup, too. Look at our defense that game. It's not the same.
No, it was not the same. It was terrible. And, that was one of the things that made people get really sick and tired of Greg Berhalter, right? But then he changed his tactics for the home game, and we went with more of a direct attacking style instead of trying to possess. And we were able to do that. So, yeah, we have to beat Canada at home and we have to beat El Salvador away. Now, if we manage to get 6 points from the 2 games, which we should, I wouldn't love it, but it would be understandable if we got a draw in Honduras, because the San Pedro Sula, I'm sorry, is a rough stadium to be. It's a rough environment. Honduras is a good team. I would prefer to go there and win and get 9 points from the opening 3 games. But if we get 7, I'll be kind of okay with that. What about you, Filippo?
Yeah, I think if we finish the first camp with 7 points, it's fairly reasonable. Because again, Honduras played us at home and they show they can be a problem. So if we get 7 points out of it, I'm okay with it. But ideally, we want to get 9 right away. The thing that we don't want is the pressure of qualifying to start building up throughout the qualifiers. We want it to be somewhat easy so these players don't get pressed into that. I would not want to get to the last game of qualifiers still needing to win.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next window, okay, which is in October, is also relatively easy. Okay, we have Jamaica at home. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's very, very winnable. 3 points should be expected at home. On all of these games, we should expect to get 3 points at home, right? So 3 points against Jamaica, and then we play Panama away. Now, Panama is not what they used to be. They used to be sort of a Honduras-level team. They are not that anymore. So we should absolutely get 3 points in Panama, in my opinion. I don't think drawing in Panama is good enough anymore. Okay? You have to remember, guys, it's El Salvador managed to convince Alex Roldan to play with them. Well, yeah, because he's not going to play for the U.S. So for him, it's a chance to go play, for a national team and maybe play in a Gold Cup or something. Look, we've got Jamaica at home. We have to win, right? Panama away, we have to win. And then Costa Rica at home. So that's also a relatively easy group. I mean, like a second round, right? I think, again, this should be 9 points, but minimum 7. Okay? If you get a draw in Panama, I won't love it. But minimum 7 points, I think. So if in your first 2 windows, your first 6 games, you get minimum 14 points, anywhere from 14 to 20 points, then we're in really good shape going into the rough games, right? Which is in November. Now, luckily for us, in November, it's just 2 games. We have Mexico at home, very winnable. We just beat them at home in Denver, right? And then Jamaica away. Now, Jamaica away, that's not easy, right? That's going to be tough. So what are your thoughts on Jamaica away, Filippo?
Yeah, I'm actually worried about Jamaica at home too a little bit. The thing with Jamaica is we don't know yet what players are going to be there. If they get all the players they're listing, it's probably the 3rd best team in CONCACAF. We should still beat them at home. Away, I wouldn't be mad at all if we got a draw. I think that's pretty reasonable. As long as we beat Mexico at home, a draw of Jamaica away would be a pretty good result.
Yeah, I think, again, Jamaica is one of those teams like Honduras and Mexico that when we play them away, I wouldn't love it, but I'd be okay if we got a draw, right? It's not the end of the world. But the Panamas, the El Salvadors, the Canadas of the world, even away, we have to beat them, right? All right, next up then in January, and this is weird because we've never had a January camp before, right? Should we wait before we get into that, Filippo? I know we said we'd do a separate video on venues, but where do you want the Mexico game? If you had to choose right now, U.S. Soccer says, Filippo, it's up to you. Where do you put it and why? We lost you on sound, buddy. We can't hear you anymore. Yeah, you're on mute. Not sure what happened. Can you guys still hear him? Maybe it's just me. I can't hear him. Guys, let me know. Oh, there we go. I can hear you now.
Okay, no echo, right?
No echo. I can hear you. You're good.
Okay, so I would ideally want to put us away from the Mexico crowd, and the game is at November, right?
It's in November 6th. It's November 12th.
I would actually put us maybe in New York. Go play in the cold.
But dude, we can play in the cold in Minnesota. New York, it's gonna be full of Mexicans, right? I mean, they're all over the place in the big cities. Here's the thing, right? I'm of two minds about the Mexico game. We just beat Mexico in Denver with the stadium full of Mexicans. And I also believe the U.S. is at a time right now where instead of being scared of Mexico fans, we should be inviting them to join us. Like, they are rooting for a team, and Mexican fans are going to hate this, but they're rooting for a team that's on its way down. Okay. This team is aging and they're struggling. And the U.S. has a bright program. I think I put this on Twitter, but I got a YouTube comment from a guy that said, I've been a Mexico fan my whole life, but I'm now switching to the U.S. because I'm interested in the program. I'm interested in what you guys are doing. So maybe it's a chance to show the Mexico fans, like, hey, yeah, come to root for Mexico, and we might convert you over to become a USMNT fan during the game. What are your thoughts on that?
So I'm going to be honest here with one thing, because I don't care where we play. I think that's the first thing. I don't care too much about where we play in the United States. I don't think it will matter at the end of the day where we play. I think if we play Mexico, the odds of having a bigger Mexican crowd, regardless of where it is, it's probably higher at this point. And
unless it's in Columbus.
Just beat. Yeah, at the new stadium. We could play at the new stadium. But how big is the new stadium there?
I think it's the same size. It's like 20,000 seater, just like the old one, just like map-free. Okay. So it's not like it's, it doesn't need to be huge. The main thing is to get it filled with USMNT fans. There's going to be some Mexican fans. That's just reality. Those guys travel. They will travel to watch El Tri play, and they're a very passionate fan base. So I'm torn between, like, let's put it in Columbus or let's put it in Minneapolis, and also between saying, you know what? I think that having the Mexicans in Denver motivated Christian Pulisic, because he went to right after he scored his goal and shushed them. So I don't know if it's as much of a disadvantage as some people are saying it is. And like I said earlier, it could be a chance to convert some El Tri fans and say, welcome to the right side.
As long as we win. And the only thing I hate about this is we're going to play Mexico on a 2-match camp. And Mexico will struggle more in the 3-match camps, which is our last one too. Yeah.
But by that time, we should already be qualified. That one should just be for stakes, right? So we've got Jamaica here. We've got Jamaica away, which we should win, and Mexico at home. I'm going to say Minneapolis. Quickly, what's your call?
I'm sticking to New York.
You're going to stick to New York. Interesting.
Go to MetLife. Let's go to MetLife.
MetLife Stadium. They'll fill that place to the brim. And what actually, it could be epic, man. It could be epic. Okay. Then in January, the first time we have a January camp, we are home against El Salvador. That's 3 points. It has to be 3 points. There's no excuses. Okay. And then we go away to Canada on January 30th. It's probably going to be a blizzard game, because whether you play in Toronto or Montreal, I mean, maybe they'll play in Vancouver. I don't know where Canada is going to put that game, but my guess is will be in Toronto, because usually they like to play in Toronto. That's going to be a great game. We have to win that too. Remember, Canada has some great attackers, guys, but their defense is still pretty suspect. Even their midfield is not that good. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I also think playing Canada away is not like playing other CONCACAF nations away. So there's really not that much of an excuse there.
No, it's Toronto. Like, these guys have all played Toronto. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they go to Toronto game when they're in MLS. It's not
it's a home game. There might even be more Americans there. Who knows?
The Canadian fans are not going to like that.
No, they're not. But even if they're there, it's not really a hostile environment. The fields won't be bad.
Yeah.
I think there's an excuse there.
It's going to be hostile, as in, like, Canadians' versions of hostile, which is not that hostile. You know what I mean? They're one of the most polite countries in the world. Lance Tanwi with a really good point, just while we're talking about Mexico. 90% of El Tri fans in America are Americans with Mexican heritage. So converting them might not be too hard because they are Americans. Exactly my point. Is like, a lot of them are El Tri fans because their parents are, Mexican El Tri fans, right? But they're still born and raised in the U.S., and a lot of them do have some kind of affinity to the U.S. in one way or another. And a lot of current USMNT fans are of Mexican heritage. So I don't think, if they see an exciting program that is playing well, that is playing beautiful attacking football, that might speak to because Mexicans love beautiful football, right? You watch their teams play. They love to keep the ball. They're very technical. They like creative players, and so that could speak to them. And especially if you have some Hispanic players in the team, So yeah, I think there are tons of Mexican fans that are just USMNT fans in waiting. You know what I mean? They're just not yet converted. And I think giving them a chance to come see our program would be a great way to convert them. Let's move on here. February 2nd is the third one of the quote-unquote January camp, and it is Honduras at home. Also has to be 3 points.
Yeah.
Right? So that's, 9 points from the January camp. Thankfully, we won't have a January camp of MLSers anymore, so that will be good. And then the big one. Honestly, at this point, we should be pretty safely qualified. If we get 7, 4, and 9, what is that? That's 14, 18. That's 27 points already.
That's qualified.
I think is that technically qualified? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it might not be mathematically already because there's still 9 points in play, but I did a few simulations, and normally the teams will qualify with 21 points. The third spot, 21 points was enough. A lot. Sometimes the simulation will go 22, sometimes 19. 21 seems pretty safe. 27, you're probably top 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much qualified. And then we go to Mexico. And that game is just a game for honor and glory. Like that is like the gladiators. That's the arena.
Or Mexico will be fighting, Pete. Or Mexico will still be fighting for a spot there.
Maybe. We never know, right? I mean, Mexico doesn't look as strong as they used to. I still think they're going to qualify if I had to put money on it. But I don't think people were saying before they're going to get first place in the Ocho for sure. I don't think they're that strong. I think they're going to qualify, but I don't think we just hand them the trophy now. Like people were saying that about Nations League too, and it didn't go that way. It could have, but in the end, there's still a lot. And Mexico, I'm going to talk a little bit about Mexico here because they're doing something that's very interesting to me. They are bringing a lot of their first team to the Gold Cup, it seems. And then a lot of their under 23s are obviously going to be in Olympics. So most of their guys aren't really going to have like an off season, a proper summer break. And I think that could affect them going into the seasons with their clubs. It could affect fatigue levels. It could affect potential injury levels. Guardado is already injured. Arteaga for does anybody know why Gerardo Arteaga pulled out of the Olympics? He said he didn't want to be involved.
I think he's isn't he in Gold Cup? Arteaga's in Gold Cup.
Is he in the Gold Cup? Maybe he's in the Gold Cup, but not Olympics because he wants to get a good start with his club, with Genk, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But my point is that I think that Mexico is going to struggle because a lot of their players aren't getting a proper off season. And they've all played very compressed seasons so far, especially the ones in Europe where they've played a lot of games this last year because the season didn't start until September, remember, because of COVID. So it ran from September to May, 2 games a week. So I don't know. Maybe that will affect Mexico, but maybe not. We're back to us now. So a way to get to Mexico, at least we have to get a draw. Man, if we could get a win in Mexico City, like what an amazing win. Is it in Mexico City or do they play in Guadalajara?
I don't know. I don't know if they released where the games will be. I would love it to be in Azteca Stadium.
But Azteca is in Mexico City, right?
I don't know the exact location. I don't know.
Where is Azteca? Let me look. How do we not know this? Yeah, it's in Mexico City. It's in Mexico City.
I can't pretend to care though. I know the name of the stadiums. I don't know where they are exactly.
Yeah, no, it's in Mexico City. It's in Mexico City. So we had to at least get a draw.
Pete, here's the thing about the L3 fans right now. Not the L3 fans that are torn in between the U.S. The hardcore L3 fans is they're completely blind right now to what's happening with the L3 national team. The other day I made a tweet saying that their national team seems finished. It's old. The new guys are not as good as the old guys at their prime. They're not looking that good. So this L3 account comes up and puts a list of all these young prospects they have where 80% of them are 24 years old. 24-year-olds are not prospects anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. You look at a lot of their guys, Cesar Montes, Charlie Rodriguez. I had a guy try to tell me Luis Romo is young. I'm like, he's 26. How is that young? He's not young. That's the guy in his prime, right? Roberto Alvarado, 23 years old. JJ Macias, almost 22. Charlie Rodriguez is 24. Alexis Vega, 22. Uriel Antuna, 23. These guys are not 18, 19 years old. That is Jesus Gomez playing in Boa Vista, who's not really playing. That is Eugenio Pizzuto, who plays for Lille, who's not really playing. Those are their young guys, right? Not the guys in Mexico. Josie 33 with a question for us. He says, if Mexico don't qualify, will the midfield be the reason they don't? I don't keep up with El Tri, but it looks like there's a lack of depth. It's not that there's a lack of depth. It's more that there's a lack of quality in depth, right? And that is something that if you look at Herrera and Guardado and Jonathan Dos Santos, those guys have carried that midfield for the last 10 years. Now, those guys are all in their 30s, and the replacements are just not as good in terms of depth, right? So, yeah, I think they will qualify. I think they have too much quality to not qualify, but I don't think it's, a foregone conclusion that they're going to qualify. I think they're going to have to struggle, So, yeah. What do you think, Filippo, to that question?
Yeah, so he's asking if it's the midfield or if it's, I think lack of quality depth will be the issue. I don't think specifically the midfield. They have lack of quality depth everywhere. The defense, offense. You take out Raul Jimenez and they have to put Alan Pulido there, an MLS center forward. They have to put Henry Martin, he's okay. He's okay. Who else? Chicharito will have to come back. I don't know.
They're trying to naturalize Funes Mori, right? Who's also 30 years old. So it's not like, it's just they have all this young depth. They don't have a lot of depth. And I think they're going to qualify, guys. Mexico has a certain floor that I think they'll qualify, but you never know, right? Last two games, we have Panama at home, must win, and then Costa Rica away. By that point, we should be not just trying to qualify, but trying to top the Ocho, right? One of the ways that you assert your dominance in CONCACAF is topping the Ocho. And I think that's what we should aim to do, 100%. So, guys, I think overall we should be looking to get maximum points, but it's acceptable to drop points. Mexico away, Jamaica away, and Honduras away. So 3 draws away is kind of, I don't want to say acceptable, but understandable, right? So that means, you're talking about 14 games, 14, 28, 52. I'm sorry, 42 minus 3, 39 points. That should be our goal. I say 40 points should be the goal. It won't be easy, but we should definitely try to make that the goal.
Yeah, I'm okay with. I'm okay with us topping it regardless. Because let's be honest here, we will make some mistakes throughout it. We'll probably lose some points somewhere we shouldn't lose. He will probably start Lejen, Acosta, or Jackson Yu in a few games, and we'll lose some points here and there. So if we can get over 32 points and top the final round, the Ocho now, I'm okay with that. I think we'll lose points here and there. It's just not acceptable to qualify in third, for example, or go to an interconfederate playoff. That's not acceptable. We should be fighting for the first spot with Mexico. Maybe Jamaica will fight for it if they get all the dual nationals.
Yeah.
But, the goal has to be to qualify with ease and not just barely qualify. And, Pete, I'm getting close here, so I'm going to have to hang up pretty much now. So just going to say bye to everyone and watch.
All right, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Good luck. Enjoy the game. Say hi to our friend Jassy for us.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Mariana's saying bye here as well.
All right, bye, Mariana. See ya.
And
you're breaking up there, buddy. We can't quite hear you.
Guys.
Yeah. Dude, you're cutting in and out, dude. You're cutting in and out.
All right. Heading out. Bye, guys. Thank you, everyone. See you. Peace. Bye.
All right. See you, Filippo. Okay, so that is the World Cup qualifying schedule, guys. Like I said, Filippo and I will do a whole another video talking about the venues, specifically where these things should be played, because that's more complicated than people are saying. Real quick question here from Frank Kassler. When does the Gold Cup roster have to be finalized? So on the 30th, in 3 days, they have to submit it to CONCACAF. I don't know. That doesn't mean they have to tell us what it is on the 30th. They may tell it to us 2 or 3 days later. As soon as the Gold Cup roster is revealed or released, I will do a video on it. But yeah, that's the 30th of June, Frank. Lou Kutry. Away at Canada may still be in the U.S. if Canada is still in lockdown. Oh, my God. Away in Canada. That's going to be next year. There's no way Canada should still be in lockdown, guys. They have the vaccine now. There's no way they should be in lockdown at that point. The whole world should be out of lockdown by 2022, guys. The vaccine is, especially the Western countries that have access to the vaccine. I mean, I understand certain places might struggle to get it. And honestly, we should do everything we can to get the vaccine everywhere because we don't want this thing to not morph. What's the word? There's a word for it where it becomes like a different strain. So we don't want that. So we should get the vaccine everywhere. But Lou, I don't think it will be in the US. I'm pretty sure Canada will be out of lockdown at that point. That would be very strange to me if they were still in lockdown. Yeah, mutate. Thank you, guys. Mutate. Yeah, we don't want the virus to mutate. Like, for example, the Delta variant in India mutated, and now it's a problem in the UK, where even though they have a high vaccination rate, they're still having issues with growing cases in the UK. And that's important that we don't let that happen. So, okay. Kevin Pleat, do you think the USMNT will bring an MLS squad to any of these games? They do crazy stuff. No, I don't think so, Kevin. I think they will bring mostly the best players, right? Who are healthy if they're there. But yeah, I mean, there will be some. I imagine there will be some MLS guys. I imagine Leggett and Acosta and Yule will be there. My guess is Matt Turner, if he's still in MLS, will be there. David Ochoa might be on the roster. Aaron Long, if he gets healthy at some point, might be there. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to bring an all MLS squad. No, I think they'll still bring our main team, which is the European guys, but there will be definitely some MLS players there, or maybe some of the younger guys like Caden Clark might be in a US, like in a roster while he's still in MLS because he's not leaving until January. So it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of MLS guys, but not a full MLS roster. Okay, let's see. What have we got here? Colin Steinberg says, in Thailand, vaccine rollout here is a joke. Lockdown 2021 is a possibility. We are currently in lockdown. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Who do you think... All right, here's a good question. This is about qualifying. So who do you think will be the most important player in qualifying? I'd make a strong case for Tyler Adams, given his impact earlier this summer. Yes, I agree. I think Tyler Adams and Gio Reyna will be the two most important players. Oh, and John Brooks will be the most important players in qualifying. John Brooks just brings a lot of experience, knows CONCACAF, has played in CONCACAF many, many times, was a real leader in Nations League, I thought. And yeah, Tyler Adams, absolutely. Weston McKennie, of course, Pulisic, all of these guys are going to be huge. But yeah, if Tyler Adams gets injured, we have to have a ready-made replacement. And that's why we need to use the Gold Cup to have a look at 2 or 3 guys who I think could do it, right? You've got Leon Flack, who plays for the Philly Union. If you guys have been watching him, he's been quite a good player for them, similar to Tyler Adams in, very combative, very eager to win challenges. Also, like Tyler Adams, good at reading danger before it becomes a big issue, right? So some players are like that. They can read danger in advance and then snuff it out. And that's what you want from a 6. Gianluca Busio, I have question marks. I think he's very good with the ball, Busio. I still have question marks about his defensive side of his game because that's traditionally not what he's been his whole career. Can he improve that side of his game soon enough to really be a factor in very physical qualifying games? I'm not sure, but I'd like to have a look at him in the Gold Cup and just see what he can do. And the other one is James Sands, right? Some people are very excited about James Sands. I don't think he's going to be a guy that quarterbacks the game from that 6. But as far as protecting the back line, can James Sands be a guy like that? Possibly. I think it's at least worth looking at. I think another guy who could maybe do that is Paxton Pomykal, But yeah, we need to use this Gold Cup to find a Tyler Adams backup. And then there's always the possibility that Owen Otasowie starts getting more playing time next year. Maybe Brian Ko, Kobe Hernandez-Foster being used as a 6 by Wolfsburg. But realistically, guys, if we're talking World Cup qualifying, this Gold Cup is the last chance to see them. Okay, Antonio Rodriguez. For the Sebastian Cordovas Mexico has, we have Gio Reyna, who will be 23 in 2026, and he's already better. 24-year-olds aren't prospects. Is he only going to be 23 in 2026? He's 18 now, so he'll be 19 next year in 2022. Good Lord, you're right. He's going to be 23 in 2026. Gio Reyna is going to boss the American midfield for the next 15 years, guys. Like, be prepared for Gio Reyna to get 150 caps by the time his career is over. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Mexico, don't get me wrong, they have some good young players, but the ones that they often refer to are 22 to 25 years old. And to me, that's not really a young prospect. Okay. Michael Garrison, Hoppy and DK on the 23. And will they transfer? I'm hoping they'll both be on the I know for sure Hoppy will be, because even Schalke admitted as much that he's going to be there. I hope DK is going to be there, because if we don't see DK, then we may see a lot of Zardes or Ferreira, neither of whom, in my opinion, is a guy that can help us win a Gold Cup. So I hope it's DK. We also need to see DK more. We need to see him. And I hope he doesn't get a transfer before the Gold Cup. I think he uses the Gold Cup to force a transfer. That's my hope, Mike. It sounds like, guys, and I think I've said this before, but it sounds like when Hoppy was in training with the U.S. before Nations League, I think he played left wing in training from what I heard. And Greg Berhalter may want to try him out at left wing. Personally, I don't think that's his best position, but I'm open to seeing it tried before I dismiss it out of hand. I think that Greg Berhalter has a tendency to tinker with players' positions sometimes and put them in positions that maybe aren't their best. But before I say it's not going to work, I'm open to at least seeing it, because maybe I'm wrong, right? And maybe Berhalter can see something that I can't see, so I don't want to dismiss it out of hand and say no, right? Don Antonio, any way we can offer Erling Haaland citizenship? Unfortunately not, and even if we did, he's already played competitive games for Norway, so he's cap tied to Norway, Don. But that would be cool. If we had, if we had Alphonso Davies and Erling Haaland, that would just complete our lineup, because left back and forward are the two big question marks right now in our starting lineup. So if we had those two, man, what a day that would be. Don Aniano, I'm sorry, not Antonio. My bad. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? It's over for the next 10 years if we had those two. Yeah, but guys, Kevin Paredes could be an option at left back. Jonathan Gomez, who has 2 goals and 1 assist in his last 3 games for Louisville, could be an option. So it's not like we have no left backs coming up. I still believe in Kobe Hernandez-Foster, for example. There are still other options. Here's an interesting thought from Joshua Simmons. Joshua, long time, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. By the way, guys, check out this shirt. If any of you have gotten your shirts yet, like those of you who've ordered them, tweet at me and send me pictures so I can retweet you, Joshua Simmons, maybe he wants Matthew Hoppy as an inverted winger because his goals come from transition. See, the way I look at it, Josh, is he's more of a poacher. And I'm worried that as an inverted winger, he's going to be a little too deep to really be effective in front of goal. That being said, Berhalter often talks about his wingers providing what he calls verticality, so stretching that back line with the runs, and it ends up being Gio Reyna and Pulisic coming very deep to receive the ball, So maybe it could work. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand. If Matthew Hoppy can be one of those inverted wingers who's making hard runs in behind and helping to stretch the back line, great. The real question, though, is who's going to give him service, right? Who's in midfield? Because you can have DK and Hoppy and Areola up top, let's say. But if you don't have creative midfielders who are capable of getting them the ball, they're not going to get chances to score. So less important than who plays up top for me is, can we set up a midfield that is creative, incisive, penetrative, technical, good under pressure, good when you compress time and space? If we have that kind of a midfield, then yeah, there will be chances created. If we don't, then it doesn't matter who's up there. They're going to struggle to score, right? So hopefully we see guys like Julian Green, Gianluca Busio, Eric Williamson, guys like that who can actually help to create through midfield. If it's Leggett and Roldan, that's a different story. I think we might struggle to create, right? So yeah, I'm open to seeing it tried, but more important to me is who plays in midfield, because that's going to matter a lot. Like Zardes can finish if you give him chances, right? Okay, Josie33, what would a prime DeMarcus Beasley do for this team? And also, how long do you see Gio staying at Dortmund? I think a prime DeMarcus Beasley would probably play left back. I know that he transitioned to left back later in his career, but I don't see DeMarcus Beasley ousting Christian Pulisic, you know? Or we play 3-5-2 and play DeMarcus Beasley as a left wing back. I can see that too. And then you move Christian Pulisic as a second forward. That could be something that happens. As far as Gio at Dortmund, a lot depends on when he has a consistently good season. Now, he's still extremely young. He only has a year and a half of professional football, soccer under his belt. Last year, he showed some, good flashes in patches. But for Gio to get a big transfer somewhere, he needs to show consistency, right? He needs to show that throughout the season, he can be consistent, and probably for more than just 1 year, okay? That being said, if we're talking about a transfer for Gio, you know where I think he ends up going? I think he goes Manchester City. Number one, he's a Manchester City fan. He admitted to that before. His dad, Claudio, played at Manchester City. Did you guys see the clip that US Soccer released of the guys in camp watching the Champions League final? And I think it was when Pulisic missed that goal. Everybody was like, oh no. Watch Gio's face. Gio's face goes from like slightly worried as he makes the run up to the goal to a little smirk when he misses it. And people are like, oh, he's a sociopath. I think it's just because he's a Manchester City fan. He was like, oh, thank God Christian didn't score that. But he was also kind of torn between, wanting Christian to score the goal and also like, no, I want Man City to win the Champions League for the first time ever. So I think we eventually see Gio as Kevin De Bruyne's replacement in Manchester City. But I could be wrong. Maybe not. I don't want him in Real Madrid, that's for sure. I don't want him anywhere near Real Madrid. It's a toxic club. It's a club that does not develop players. And I just think that with his attitude and mentality and still being a little young and immature, I think he needs to go somewhere with a coach like Guardiola who will keep him focused and will improve him, right? And being improved as a player is what Guardiola is very good at. He improves players. So if we want Gio anywhere, it's at Manchester City, not Real Madrid. Okay, this is an interesting question from Star Wars Nerd. Hang on here. Okay. Star Wars Nerd, where did it go? I think I missed it. Why is the level... Nope, that's not it. Why is the level of CONCACAF declining? I actually don't think the level of CONCACAF is declining. If anything, I think the level of CONCACAF is improving. I said in the Gold Cup video last week that CONCACAF is the fastest growing confederation in the world, right? You've got Canada, who is starting to develop players. 5 years ago, Canada was nothing, right? They had some guys on Toronto and a Vancouver washout. Like that was the Canada national team. And then they had that Rangers midfielder, right? So it's not. Canada's getting better. Jamaica's getting better. Now, albeit Jamaica's getting better because they're recruiting, not developing. So is that sustainable over the long term? I don't think so. And the same goes for Curacao and Haiti and Suriname and Martinique and any of these small Caribbean countries who are recruiting better players. That's all very well and good. But if you're not developing players, it's a short-term game. And so they're going to have to work on improving, the short term. They're going to have to work on player development if they want to sustain success. But yes, CONCACAF is growing. We're going to have more teams getting better and competing when it comes to World Cups. And I think you're going to see that in 2026. CONCACAF is going to really put their stamp on that tournament and say, we're here, we're better, There's big problems, though, in CONCACAF with corruption and other issues, and all kinds of federations, including our own, by the way. It's easy to look at a Caribbean federation and be like, they have so much corruption there. We have corruption in U.S. soccer as well. All right, Frank Kassler. Reyna doesn't need a move yet. BVB is a big club. I agree, Frank. I don't think he needs to go anywhere. I think he needs to stay at Dortmund and learn to be consistent. And if he does, then eventually, yeah, if he does 2 years of, 20 goals, 15 assists, yeah, I can see him going to a big club. But he's 18 and he's got a lot to learn and he's got a lot of consistency to show. Scratch K, 20 years from now, will we be saying that Gio is/has been the best U.S. player of all time? Hard to say, Scratch, because I don't know who's going to come out. Like, look at who is coming out of MLS right now. Every week we're watching 20, 30 guys we've never even heard of. Look at Sullivan yesterday with that bicycle kick goal for Philly. He's 17 years old. And then you see this ridiculously long clip of his 12-year-old brother bossing 15-year-olds. We don't know who. Now that the U.S., that MLS, and kudos to them for this, by the way, has set up their player development systems, we don't know who's going to come out of MLS. We could be producing Messis and Ronaldos, maybe not that level, okay? But guys who are, better than Gio or the same level as Gio. Like, we're America. When America sets its mind to something, guys, especially in a sporting context, we find a way to be successful at it. And for the longest time, America has not set its mind to soccer, right? It's been that little brother. It's been the fifth-class citizen. It's been, that we dismiss it and mock it. And that's all changing now. And America is finally taking soccer seriously. And we have our development systems in place. It's not perfect, of course, and we still need to get better. But I think that we're going to start producing Gio-level players pretty consistently over the next 20 years. You might have a Gio every other year. Remember, we all thought Christian Pulisic is going to be the greatest, and he may still be. But now you have Gio, who arguably is better than Christian was at his age. So hard to say. He could be one of the greatest U.S. players of all times. He could be one of many, right? We could have generations of players who are at that level or even higher. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? But definitely going to be in the top 10, I think that Gio Reyna will be a Ballon d'Or contender at least once in his life. That is my prediction. And I don't think that's hyperbolic. I don't think that's exaggeration to say that. All right, DMAC. Hey, Pete, where do you see Gianluca Busio transferring to? Also, what do you think about the Caden Clark move? So all the reports, DMAC, about Gianluca Busio are that he's going to Italy, which I think makes sense. Kid has an Italian passport. Kid already speaks Italian. He comes from an Italian background. So my guess is somewhere in Italy. I still think he has work to do, but I think Italy will be a good environment. I'd say he finishes the season with Sporting KC and then goes to Italy, or even goes halfway through the season. Who knows? Who knows? As far as Caden Clark, I love it. I've known about the Caden Clark move. We all, I think, have known about this for the last 7-8 months. I think it's a great move. I think he's going at a time where Jesse Marsch is going to be the coach. He's going to help him transition well. I don't know if he's going to get playing time right away, but I think that's up to Caden. Caden has already showed with the Red Bulls that he's up for the challenge. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see Caden Clark in the Gold Cup because he got appendicitis, unfortunately. Poor guy. Had to have surgery. So I think that just keeps him out of the Gold Cup. I don't know if Berhalter would have brought him anyways. But I like the move. I think Leipzig's a good spot for him. It suits his, he's a good combination of technical and athletic. And I think that's a good place for him to develop. Tyler Adams is there. Tyler Adams will help, not coach him, maybe coach him a little, but, take him under his arm, take him under his wing, support him, give him pointers, tips, right? Having two Americans there and possibly Brendan Aronson, who knows by that time he gets there, could be a great environment, for Caden Clark to go into being so young. He also comes from a good family. I know his dad and his dad, and he seems very grounded and down to earth. He has an athletic background as well, and he wants to push Caden. So I think that Caden's going to be a great option. I think Caden's going to be in Qatar, guys. And I think he's going to be in Qatar over a guy like Leggett. That is my prediction. Okay. But yes, the long and short of it, I do see him I think it's a great move for him. And I see Gianluca Busio going to Italy. Noah Smith, thank you for the super chat. This is awesome, guys. I wish my voice didn't give out after an hour so I could hang out longer. He didn't seem down to earth on Scuff podcast. I don't know. I heard that interview. I thought he's a proud father. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Let's see. Should we be scared of Brazil? I think we're pretty good. I don't think we should be scared of anybody. I think we can respect teams and set up tactically to be respectful of what they can bring to the table, but not be scared. You know what I mean? Where are we? Chase Athletics, hit that like, people. Yes. Hit that like, guys. If you haven't hit the like button already, do it. It helps other people to find us. Okay, here's an interesting question from Joshua Simmons. Pete, is it a bad thing for American soccer that FC Dallas hasn't won MLS Cup with their player kids movement? If they don't start winning, they may stop. I don't think it's a bad thing because I don't think Dallas is trying to win MLS Cup. I think they're trying to sell players. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with Luchi Gonzalez right now in Dallas. They're playing a lot of these not washed up, but they buy these South Americans for ridiculous amounts of money and pay them a lot of money, and they don't turn out to be that good. Jab Dab, I'm sorry, I'll go find it now. Or put it again, Jab Dab. Oh, here it is. But let me finish answering this question about FC Dallas. I think that Luchi Gonzalez is probably a better youth coach than he is a senior team head coach. He's struggled right now to create any kind of interesting momentum. He's benched a lot of his young guys in favor of these South American players who don't really seem to be performing or living up to their price tags or salaries. So I think they need to find a coach who's committed to playing young players and selling them. Remember, they've sold Chris Richards for very little, and they've sold Reggie Cannon, but they haven't sold any of their attackers yet, right? Ricardo Pepi, Jesus Ferreira, Paxton Pomykal. They have another winger there. Justin Che is not getting bought anymore. So the real question is, are they going to be able to consistently give these players playing time so that they improve? Because if you look at the level of improvement, a lot of these guys in Dallas have one good season, and then the next year they don't do as well, like Jesus Ferreira, right? And so when they don't do as well, they get benched, and now their value drops and other teams back off on them. I think they need a coach who knows how to integrate them well and be consistent with, you have to let young players make mistakes, right? They're going to make mistakes. That's just the reality of young players. That's how they develop. They're not perfect. And so you have to let them do that. You can't, every time they make a mistake, go, okay, now you go sit on the bench. You understand? So I don't think they're trying to win MLS Cup, and I don't think it's bad for them to not, or for the player youth. Look at Philly. Philly hasn't won MLS Cup, but they're doing a much better job than Dallas right now of playing and selling their youth. Okay. Jab Dab. Thoughts on Taylor Booth so far on loan? I haven't seen Taylor Booth, Jab Dab. I don't like commenting on players that I haven't watched at least 3 full games. I know some people do that. They just go, oh yeah, he's been really good. For me, that feels disingenuous. I've seen highlights of Taylor Booth. He seems like an interesting player, but I don't want to come out and say and give an analysis on him unless I actually watch him play at least 2 to 3 full games. Ray Rave. Rumor has surfaced that Uli Yanez could be loaned out to SKN St. Polten. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you want to see from Uli? Yeah, I think that's a great loan for him. I think that Uli is a very talented player. He has been unlucky. He's been injured a lot. He's been at a club in Wolfsburg that doesn't really believe in youth development. They've just disbanded their under-23 team, okay? And they don't give players a chance until they're 21, 22. Then he went to Heerenveen and struggled to get, meaningful minutes there, and then got injured just around the Olympics time, which could have been his breakout tournament. Uli is a very talented young winger. A lot of people are giving up on Uli too soon, in my opinion. I think every time he's played for the US, he's looked like one of the better players on the field, in my opinion. So him going to Austria could be a good thing for him, right? To build his confidence back up. What I want to see from him, he needs to stay fit. He needs to start getting consistent minutes, and he needs to start putting up goals and assists, especially in Austria, because if you can't even do that, you're going to struggle anywhere else. But a lot of Uli is about confidence and consistency, and sometimes you need a run of games without being injured to do that. So, and again, you have to give young players time, right? Too often, some clubs are good at this, and some clubs, the minute they don't perform well for one game, they bench them. And then you have to understand different players are different. For some players, that motivates them. And for some players, that sucks the confidence out of them. So player development is not a linear thing, you know, and I think Uli is a confidence guy. He needs a coach and a club that believes in him and plays him and won't bench him every time he makes a mistake. And he needs to stay healthy consistently. What goes into developing a world-class left back? This has been the bane of the American. This is the bane of the American, like the last 20 years. We haven't had a good left back. And part of the problem is there just aren't as many, you know, left-footed players, right? And a lot of the ones that are left-footed end up becoming wingers, you know, like a Breck Shea. So you need to start off with a left-footed player. He needs to be explosive, athletic. He needs to be technical, obviously, like any other player on the field, and quick, because, you know, fullbacks get isolated 1v1. So if you don't have speed, you're not going to be a great fullback, right? As far as world-class, there's so many things that are going to make a player world-class. Mentality has to be really strong. They should start playing from a very young age at, you know, developing technique. They need to play street soccer on their own with their friends, futsal, small-sided games, 3v3, develop that technique from a young age, be two-footed. There's just so much that goes into making a world-class player. Right now, I would settle for a pretty good left back. I don't think we have one. I mean, Anthony Robinson is not bad, but even he has his struggles, specifically when it comes to building out of the back. Technically, under pressure, he doesn't always do so well, right? John Token, yeah, LAH Sport. John Token could absolutely be somebody that we look at in the future, could be a good left back. There's tons. Jonathan Gomez, there's John Token, there's George Bello is still somebody I think we need to keep an eye on. Some people like Sam Vines. I don't think personally that Sam Vines has a very high ceiling, but I could be wrong. Let's see how he does in the Gold Cup. All right. Some people mentioned about St. Polten is that they got relegated into the Austrian second division. I did not know that. I would not be, I would prefer Uli then to stay in MLS. If you're going to be in the Austrian second division, that's like USL levels, guys. So I don't know about that. Kevin Polite, how long do you think it will take in World Cup qualifying for Berhalter to get this team to be playing at their highest level? So when you say highest level, Kevin, do you mean like, I don't think these guys are going to reach their highest level until they're in their mid to late 20s. So I don't think they're ever going to be at their highest level, but I think I know what you mean in the sense of them developing a cohesion, dominating games, right? We've talked a lot about, Greg Berhalter has talked a lot about dominating games, right? Using the ball to disorganize opponents. We haven't ever really seen that, okay, in a competitive fixture from this team. So I think what you mean is, can we see that in World Cup qualifying? I hope so. I hope that they take confidence from, you know, from a really good Nations League win, right? They take confidence from that. But also, you cannot dominate games if you don't have a dominating midfield. All right? You're not going to be able to dominate games with Sebastian Lletget and Jackson Yueill in midfield. You're just not. And I know some people disagree with me on this. You need a combination of destroying midfield and creative midfield to dominate games. At the very least, if you're going to have three destroyers, like, you know, Adams, McKennie, and Musa, at least some of them have some creativity about them, okay? And in CONCACAF, some of their destroying instincts can lead to chances on goal because of the high press, right? And because you can suffocate teams in their own half. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to dominate. Look, Gio Reyna, go watch Nations League. Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic had to come so deep to get the ball because they didn't have a midfield that could feed them the ball. Look at where Christian Pulisic receives the ball for Chelsea most of the time and where he receives it for the USMNT. Drastic difference. He has to come so deep to receive the ball. And then what are you going to do, right? You can't dribble through the whole team on his own, which is what he likes to do. But he oftentimes gets tackled or loses it. It's just, you want Pulisic getting the ball in the final third of the field, isolated against players where he can beat them 1v1, where he can cause problems. Same for Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna will come back to receive the ball in the center circle, but is that really where you want him receiving the ball? No, you want him closer to the penalty box so he can receive it on the half turn, so he can shoot, dribble, create. That's what you want. Okay, that is when we're going to see a dominating performance. But in order to do that, you need guys who can get them the ball. You need Musa. You need McKennie. You need Adams. Personally, I think you need Gio Reyna in the middle and maybe a Tim Weah who's stretching the back line with his runs, or a Brendan Aronson, right? But you're not going to dominate games like that against decent CONCACAF opponents in World Cup qualifying, Kevin, if your midfielders are Leggett or Yule or Acosta. Just my opinion. I might be wrong. We'll see. Okay. Ryan Kerfman, what's USMNT identity, or what should it be in terms of style of play? I've always heard it over the years on TV broadcasts. What's your take? So, Ryan, I think that our identity or our style of play is dictated by the players that we have. I think that's how soccer is all over the world. It's not how you want to play. It's who do you have available and what style of play or identity best suits those players. Now, for the longest time, the U.S. played bunker ball, right? We defended for our lives and we hit teams on the counterattack and we hit teams on, set pieces, which, to be honest, we're still doing that, right? As much as Berhalter likes to talk up a big game, Jurgen Klinsmann did the same thing. Guys, we got to be an attacking team. We want to be a team that's progressive, a team that has to, we're going to go out and attack them. And they talk a big game, but we never saw that on the field, right? So now we are finally putting together the players that can do that can hold the ball, that can create for the midfield, that can evade pressure with their technical ability, that have the tactical nuance and understanding of how to break down tough defenses and to have possession of the ball and to dominate, right? We have that now. Are we using them correctly? So far, I don't think so. But they're very young still, and I'm trying to be patient with Berhalter, and I hope that he can get them playing in a cohesive attacking unit. We've seen glimpses of it, but not enough of it consistently. And I think a lot of it has to do with our midfield, like I've just talked about. So our identity should be, well, what kind of players do we have, right? I think we have technical players. We have attacking players, right? And it doesn't have to be possession. It can be the Jesse Marsch style. You can dominate a team by gegenpressing and pressing them so high and winning the ball and getting shots on goal a lot, right? I mean, it's like less death by 1,000 passes and more death by 1,000 shots on goal. We have the ability to be that. The question for us is, can Berhalter get his player personnel and his tactics right in order to do that? So that is my thoughts. Now, I did a video on Patreon not too long ago. There's this new book that's come out by this Greek professor of economics. I can't remember his name, but it's talking about the USMNT and how he wants us to still be a bunker ball team because we were the most successful and we were a bunker ball team. It's complete nonsense, in my opinion. He talks a lot about, stats from the Klinsmann era, even though we were trying to be an attacking team. We didn't. It's like we weren't trying to be an attacking team. Klinsmann didn't have the personnel or the tactical nous to be able to put an attacking team together. We weren't. We were still a bunker ball team. But there's, people will weigh in with a lot of different thoughts on this. And I don't think the only thing that matters is what kind of players you have available. If you have the right players, you can be an attacking team. If you don't, you have to be a bunker ball team or a counter-attacking team or a set piece team, whatever you want to call it. So that is my thoughts. Chase Athletic, signing up to your Patreon. Didn't know you had one. Support if you can, people. Thank you, Chase. Yeah, guys, I would really appreciate that. We have videos every week, and most importantly on Patreon, I can do tactical breakdowns with actual video clips, which I cannot do on YouTube because of copyright issues. So, all right. Smash that like button. Do you think Berhalter will be out after Qatar 2022? By the way, guys, if you're looking for the Patreon, the link is in the description below. I think it depends on how he does in Qatar. So if we get to Qatar and we make, say, the quarterfinal, I think that it will be hard for the federation to replace him. I think the federation will say, you did a good job. So here you get another cycle. I personally don't believe coaches should do more than one cycle. Look at, what's his name? Bruce Arena, 2002, took us to the quarterfinal, right? And everyone was like, all right, let's give him another contract. So we give him the 2006 cycle. What happens? We lose in the opening round. I think that after 4 years with the national team, the message gets old. The players become familiar to a degree with the message. It becomes a little stale. Coaches tend to go with their favorites instead of what's best for the team. Sometimes after a World Cup, you need a little bit of a refresh, especially a very successful World Cup, because sometimes players, all human beings, have that tendency to rely on past success and sort of drop their level just 2 or 3%. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but in the world of elite soccer, it is a lot. So I think also we have to look at 2026 as our opportunity. Okay, we're playing at home with this great generation of players. We have an opportunity not only to do really well in the World Cup, but also to turn America into a soccer nation. We have the chance to take 50 million casuals or 50 million people who don't care about soccer, who think it's stupid, who think it's a girls' game, who think it's a communist sport. I mean, we've all heard these comments, who think it's boring. You know, we have a chance to turn them into soccer fans with a great, great performance in 2026. And in order to do that, we need to give ourselves the best opportunity to go as far as we can. The semifinals should be the goal in 2026, right? And so I think we should try to get the best possible coach. Not good enough, not pretty good, not even very good, but I think the best possible coach that we can. Not the best coach in the world, the best coach for the USMNT. That's what I think should be the goal. I think Jesse Marsch has the potential to be that team. To be that guy. Okay, not the best coach in the world, but the best coach for this team. Maybe. I'm not saying for sure. I'd be fine with a foreigner. If he understands the players, if we think he is the guy who will give us the best possible shot, yeah, I'd be fine with a foreigner. If we're going to go American, and I understand the merits of going American at home, then you should go for Jesse Marsch or maybe Pellegrino or David Wagner, depending on how he does now, But I think knowing our federation, if Berhalter does at least a decent job, I think they'll give it to him again for the next 4 years. I could be wrong, though. We'll see. We will see. All right. Don Aniano would love Roberto Martinez. Yeah, I could see Martinez as a guy. I mean, look what he's doing with Belgium right now, right? I could see him as a guy, and, he's come to the U.S. and done, broadcasting for the Champions League. Yeah, I think he should get an interview at least. Why not? Somebody who's good at taking top players and making them a cohesive unit, which is what he's done with Belgium, right? Why not? And has international experience, pedigree. Hell yeah. Maybe give him an American assistant, but I think 100% Roberto Martinez could be that guy. Luis Enrique, Frank Castler could be a guy too. It doesn't have to be an American coach. I just think it should be the best coach, right? All right, guys, a few more questions here, and then I'm going to have to get going. But this is fun. I love doing this, guys. I want to try maybe next Sunday. I'll let you guys know, but one of these days do like a chill hangout where we talk some soccer, but we also talk just life stuff with me and Filippo, do like a brown liquor episode where we just like hang out and drink and talk about other stuff. Like you can ask us questions about our own lives. I'd love to hear about some of your guys' lives. I don't even know anything about, Filippo growing up, what his life was like. So that'd be kind of a fun episode to do and just kind of hang out and do something chill. All right. What do we got here? Giovanni Raman Dutta. You are like our only fan from Indonesia, Giovanni. Well, you missed a lot, dude. We talked about World Cup qualifying. We talked about a lot of stuff. Rewatch the episode, Giovanni. That's the best I can. Otherwise, I'll be recapping everything for you. Do you think Berhalter can develop as a coach? Yes, I think he can. I think anybody can develop as a coach, right? Life is about learning. I mean, you never stop learning if you're open to it. So I think he can develop as a coach. The question is, will he? I think there are options. There's some evidence that he's already improved as a coach because he's shifted some of his ideas even while coaching the USMNT. Remember in 2019, he was very big on guys like Dan Lovitz, Christian Roldan, Jassy Zardes, Omar Gonzalez, even Will Trapp. And then he did move away from those guys when it showed, when they demonstrated that it wasn't working. My beef with Berhalter is that too often he develops too slowly. He learns too slowly. And I don't think you can afford to do that in this game. I think you have to be a fast learner. And I hope he can continue to develop. There's still huge question marks about Berhalter, right? His tactical decisions, his personnel decisions, his inability to react quick enough to, the chess game that soccer is at a higher level. We've definitely seen him improve somewhat, and I hope he can continue to improve. I hope over time he will phase out guys like Leggett and Acosta and Ewell and Ream and start relying on, maybe more creative midfielders, maybe move Gio inside or move Pulisic inside, probably more Gio, or, give chances to guys like Caden Clark, Gianluca Busio, Julian Green, Eric Williamson, so yeah, or give Yunus Musa more playing time if you spend 2 years recruiting him and then bring him to your Nations League and sit him on your bench and say he's not balancing enough. What was that all about? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay. I'm going to do 3 more questions. But yes, Christian, I think he can develop as a coach, and I certainly hope that he will continue to do so. Isaiah Paskins, MAEA, make America elite again. I don't think we were ever elite, our soccer team. Fernando Bustos. With CCV maybe getting a move to a Premier League team, how can we not put him in our starting rotation? Just asking, since we barely see him get called up. Okay, Fernando, there's a couple of issues with CCV. One is just because you play for a Premier League team doesn't mean you have to be in our starting lineup. Okay, if we have John Brooks and Chris Richards who are both playing for Champions League teams in the Bundesliga, then just because you start in Premier League doesn't mean you're going to be in the starting lineup for us. From what I've seen of CCV in the past was that he was very poor technically, so not able to build out of the back, not very mobile, so not very quick, not able to react quickly to developing situations, poor to read the game, and also not very tall for a center back, just 6 feet. Now, Mark McKenzie is 6 feet tall, so it doesn't mean you can't be a good center back. I certainly would like to see CCV again because I haven't seen him much this season for Bournemouth, but from what I've heard, from people that I trust, from clips that I have seen, he has done quite well, and I think he deserves a Gold Cup look. Now, if he comes into Gold Cup and has an amazing Gold Cup, then yeah, he should be in the rotation. That doesn't mean he's ready to start necessarily. I still think Richards and Brooks are our starting duo, in my opinion. But yeah, I to your point, I hope he gets a Gold Cup call-up. I hope, and then we can evaluate him again and just see, does this guy have something to contribute to the program? Okay. Joachim Low. I don't know if Joachim Low is going to be out of a job by, the end of Qatar. I think he's going to get snapped up pretty soon by another team, whether it's a national team or a club. I don't know if Joachim Low is really the guy. Okay. Our master, he sniffs his own farts. All right, who's watching the Euros? I saw him do that in the Euros. I didn't see him fart on his hands, but I did see him doing the finger sniff thing, and I was like, not again, Yogi. Come on. You don't want that viral clip going around again. All right. Frank DeNuifa. I don't want to see him eating boogers. You guys are hilarious. Okay. Spoiler alert. Do you think Josh Sargent is overrated? It depends how you rate him. I don't think Josh Sargent is overrated. I think that right now Josh Sargent is suffering from a lack of confidence. I think he's struggling because he's spent 2.5 years at a terrible club playing for a terrible coach, and that has affected his confidence a lot. And I think that Sargent, especially at his age, is a confidence player. So I don't think he's overrated. I mean, unless you're telling me he's world class, then yeah, he's overrated. But I think he's a good 10 to 15 goal a season forward with 5 to 10 assists in a top 5 league. That's my opinion about Sargent. But he has to be confident, and he needs to go to a new club. He needs to rebuild his confidence from scratch, which is not always an easy thing to do. But the kid has talent, guys. I've seen it before. I've been watching Josh since he was 16 years old, okay? He has talent. He has to get the mental side set up right if he wants to be our number one striker. Because, yeah, Your confidence is affecting him a lot, and he did not have a good Nations League. So I don't think he's overrated. I think we need to have faith in him. He's 21 years old, which is very young. We need to keep believing in him. Okay? All right. Does American Outlaws, thank you, Joshua. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, American Outlaws and just the American fan base needs better chants. You know why? We're still using the same chants from 2014. Guys, that was almost 8 years ago now. We need to retire the I Believe chant, for example. You know, there are some of them that are fine, like, oh, when the Yanks go marching in. Like that, I have no problem with that chant. But some of the chants are just so stale. You know what I mean? They've been overused, overdone. They don't really say a whole lot. You know what we need? We need chants for this generation of players. We need chants that, you know, hype up Gio and Christian and Weston and Adams. Like, we need to make them gladiators and gods in our chants, in our singing. The way that you go to England, right? You know, Cardiff City fans aren't just singing, I believe that we will win. They're singing about their favorite midfielder. You know what I mean? They're singing about, and they take like nursery rhymes, which anybody can sing, and they'll put, you know, an intelligent, not intelligent, but kind of half funny, cocky song about their favorite player and put it in there. And every time he scores a goal, they all sing it. Or they'll sing it about their captain or about, you know, one of their best players that they love, or they'll sing it for their opponent. Like when we play El Tri, we should have a chant, you know? I don't know what it is, but it's not that hard. In fact, I'm going to do a whole video about this, guys, because I have some ideas for these chants, for new songs that are, you know, with this new generation of players and this new era in American soccer, we need new songs. We need new chants. We need fresh, new, funny, interesting, cocky. I don't want to say arrogant, but we need to, like, we're the United States. You know what I mean? And it's easy to do. You can take, you know, a nursery rhyme, like, I don't know. I've actually have some ideas about this, and I don't want to do them now because they're not crystallized yet. But I might do a whole episode where I'm going to give some ideas for new chants, new songs. You can even take a simple song, like, you know, take that song, Hey There, Delilah, right? You all know that song. You can take that and turn that into so many things. You can turn that into an El Tri song, you know, like, there is so much possibility. And I'm going to do a whole nother episode about this. Stay tuned for it because I have ideas, and I think it's time for fresh chants and fresh fan engagement and stuff that's not so cringy. You know, we've been a little cringy in the past. So, all right. Chris Casenza. Josh suffers due to lack of a creative midfield. Yeah. But so do Christian and Gio. I mean, you know, like, that has happened, you know, for other guys too. Josh has had moments for the U.S. where he should do better, creative midfield or not, and he hasn't done better. And like I said, I think that's down to his confidence more than anything else, you know? Yeah, Queen Rhapsody modified chant. Yeah, Christopher, 100%. You know, what if you just took that? Can you imagine a stadium of 70,000 people going, Gio, Reyna. Reyna, you know what I mean? Like simple things like that. And then you can do one verse about, you know, Gio Reyna's exploits against El Tri. And all of a sudden that's a cool, interesting, funny song. And imagine an entire stadium doing that, guys. That would strike fear into the hearts of anybody. If you have 80,000 people at a World Cup doing that. And, you know, for a cocky guy like Gio, what do you think that's going to do? That's going to puff out his chest. It's going to make him feel better about himself. And I just think there's so much we can do with that. Hit me up with ideas. I'm going to do a video about this because I think there's stuff that we can do. And I think this is a good place to end it, guys. This has been fun. I love hanging out. I love doing these. I try to do one every Sunday. Next Wednesday is the 30th, and that is when the Gold Cup roster has to be submitted to CONCACAF. I don't know if it's going to be released to us. So if there's no video on Wednesday, guys, it's because we don't know the roster yet. My next video will be either Thursday or Friday. Whenever the new roster comes out, I'll do the final roster comes out, then I'll do a video on it. And then, of course, next Sunday, I will be here. As always, imagine a Kurt Angle, you suck chant against El Tri. Yeah, guys, there's so much room for creativity. There's so much possibility we can do it. And there's talented people. in this thread right here. You know, there's talented people in American soccer fans. There's musicians and artists and creatives and comics and just accountants who have a great sense of humor, you know? And I think if we put our heads together, we can absolutely come up with better songs and chants for a new era, for a new team, for a new exciting fan base, you know? So guys, this has been awesome. Thank you for everybody for showing up, for being a part of these. I feel humbled, honestly. You guys want to come hang out and talk soccer with me. I'll see you next Sunday for the hangout as usual. We'll have a video out this week for the Gold Cup. Fingers crossed the Gold Cup final roster has some new, interesting, exciting players that we want to see and isn't just a mashup of, you know, a mashup of 2019 and the Olympic qualifying roster. Let's hope, you know, we see some fresh faces. So, yeah, not sure what this means. Pete, expand 2,100 character limit for super chat. Okay, I don't know how to do that, Chris, but I'll look into it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.